Hello and welcome to Earth Politicos. Today's brief government profile is about the Netherlands. And here's the roadmap for today. You can skip to any section by clicking on the links here. So let's start with big words. This country is a parliamentary representative democracy, which means that it has a parliament made of representatives elected democratically. It is also a constitutional monarchy, which means that it has a king or a queen, but they have limited amount of power. It is also a decentralized unitary state, which means that it has many provinces, but it's all one state. So here's the government structure. Now, there are four main branches that I'm going to go over, and there's also two other smaller branches that I'm going to go over. First, let's start with the monarchy, because technically they are the head of state, although they don't really do that much, because it is a democratic country, and they don't really want to go against that. So one example of the monarch not having enough power is that they technically appoint the cabinet, but essentially they choose whoever the formateur or basically the future prime minister wants. Next is an organization that does have power, which is the States General or the Dutch Parliament. This is a bicameral parliament, which means that there's two houses. I'm just going to call them the lower house and the upper house, even though they have a variety of other names. The first is the upper house, which is indirectly elected by provinces, meaning that the provinces get to choose who they send to the house. And the provinces are usually democratic, so it is technically a democracy, but not really. Now, the lower house is directly elected by the people, and the voting system I will go over later. So let's go over each of the houses in more detail. First, the upper house. Now, the upper house, even though it's called the upper house, is less significant politically, and the reason it's called the upper house is because it is made up of nobles and not elected by the commoners. So the current leaders are these parties, and I'll go over them in detail later. So essentially, all the power that they have is to accept or reject house bills, not to change them. They can't really introduce new legislation, and they essentially pass bills that go through committee. Now let's talk about the lower house, which is the house that has more power. It has 150 seats and it has two leading parties, the VVD and the PVDA. I'll talk more about them later. They have the power to introduce bills along with the cabinet. They also have a variety of other powers like submitting a list of 3 judges for the Supreme Court vacancy, electing the ombudsman, etc. Now let's talk about the cabinet led by the Prime Minister. After every election, the monarch appoints an informateur who chairs negotiations between the government coalition parties, the parties who get the most seats. Only the lower house matters usually. And if successful, the monarch appoints a formateur, which is essentially the future prime minister, to choose other ministers. Then the monarch officially chooses them. This is a long process that usually takes months. The prime minister or PM is the leader of the cabinet and usually the leader of their party as well. This brings a lot of powers and duties. This includes chairing weekly meetings of the Council of Ministers and meeting with the monarch weekly as the face of the cabinet, and more. Some other notable groups include the Council of State, which is an advisory body composed of royal family and other appointed members appointed by the crown. It's headed by the monarch, and the Council of Ministers, which is the cabinet without the state secretaries, which only includes the ministers. It is headed by the PM, and they meet weekly on Fridays. There's also the judiciary, which is organized as follows. Why I care about this is because there's a general election coming up, and this is related to the lower house, the one with more power. This is after 5 years of a complete amazing government. Now it is party time. These are the top 5 parties I'm going to go over in more detail in the next few slides. And remember, you can pause if I'm going too fast. First is the People's Party for Freedom and Democracy, or the VVD. It has 41 seats out of 150 total. It appeals to the upper and business class. It is center-left socially and right-wing economically. It supports a free market economy. It is center-left socially, although it does support assimilation. It supports the European Union, and the party is moving towards being more populist and liberal. Next is the Labour Party, which got 38 out of 150 seats. It appeals to the working class and urban areas. It is a typical center-left party. It promotes a welfare state with higher taxes and higher minimum wages. It is socially liberal. It supports the EU, and the popularity is declining, which resulted in a change of leadership. And then there was the PVV, which is the number 3 party with 15 seats. It appeals to rural areas and is a typical right-wing party. It supports a free market economy, and socially it stresses Dutch nationalism and resistance to Islam. It is resistant to immigration, and it does not support the EU. The only reason the election in 2010 happened was because this party and the VVD dropped their alliance over differences pertaining to the EU. The Socialist Party is ranked 4 and has 15 out of 150 seats. It is a typical far-left party which supports a welfare state and social justice. They are anti-globalization and anti-EU, while the number 5 party is the Christian Democratic Appeal, which has 13 seats and is a center party. Many support a free market, although views vary by person. They support moderate immigration and the EU. The voting system used is called proportional representation, which means that the percentage of votes should match the percentage of seats. Citizens vote directly for political parties, and to get a seat you need at least 1 over 150 of the vote, and the votes are divided mostly proportionally. This table shows that for the most part, percentage of popular vote reflects the percentage of seats a party gets. But how does one know who those seats go to? Well, before the election, a party prepares a list of candidates ranked from 1 down, and if they get 15 seats, the 15 seats are given to the top 15 people. Now recently, the Labour Party, which was number 2, is falling in support. Polls show them in single digits. This is down from 2012, where the leader, this guy, was a star in debates and got twice as much seats as the opening polls showed them to get. Now, the number 1 party, the VVD, is also seeing a drop from 41 to about 26 seats, and they're losing votes to the PVV. And yes, this is the anti-Islam right-wing party, which is projected to be the largest party after this election. My prediction does agree with many of the polls in saying that the leader of the PVV is going to be the next prime minister. But don't be too scared, because they will have to ally with at least 2 other parties acting as a check, which makes it more likely that the government will not last that long. Plus, there's the upper house, which is not in PVV control as of now, and the next election is in 2019, so they're not gonna pass more controversial bills. So good luck to the Dutch, because I sure don't know as an American what it's like to have a leader who openly insults minorities. But good luck to you, Dutch people, and thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. See you later.